you just create your own brush, some random triangle. I really like triangle brushes. You're gonna select this. Well, let's make it full before. M to select, to have the square selection. Then Control B, and then your brush is this now. It's exactly using the shape that you recorded. All right. This is where we left.
Really cool tip.
This is where we left the last time in the last workshop when we painted the landscape. So if you're painting with me right now, you can start, scribbling really random shapes of creature. Okay, just with a random brush. So just let's kick in without, any will to picturing something in specific.
For people that aren't using Sprite, I don't think you have to create this custom brush. You're really just, Danielle is just showing you how to create a silhouette, and he's just used that custom brush, but you can use just the generic brush.
Yes, of course.
Oh, Fox, there's a custom brush selection for pixel art, the web version.
Of course, nowadays in most of any kind of pixel software, online or not, it's very easy that they can have a custom brush because that's a very basic fit. So here I'm really scribbling, random stuff that I love, and I never stress enough about do this as an artist. Doesn't matter what's your level. It's so important to be able to just go wild, do not even know, even without having in mind an achievement, something that you want to portray. But it's so important to just be able to relax your hand and let it flow in some interesting way. And, for the phenomenon called pareidolia, I believe. You can translate it in English. Your mind can immediately get some imagination, can see some faces and body shapes in all these random states. So this is the very first exercise I like to start with when I'm exploring something. Then, of course, in concept art world, you often have some request, or you have some ideas that you want to explore. So as for example, I start exploring, just give me a subject at this point. The chat can just randomly pick one subject, one monsters for me.
Chat drops down. Does it have to be a Halloween subject or a specific monster?
Creatures. The first one that get a creatures here is fine.
Well, yeah, vampire.
Oh. So now my mind just get focused a bit more on the vampire thing. And the fun thing about this is that as I just say the word vampire, immediately your brain starts to get an impression out of what I'm doing that is way more close to a vampire than before. I'm still really going very random, almost without any kind of control. And you can tell, because some of them can be crappy, like this, which is kind of a big nose vampire. Love this. This reminds me of an anime. I don't know how you call that, or what's the original name in Japanese. In Italian is Carletto e i suoi mostri. It's the story of a little guy, very creepy, with a little hat, blonde hair, and his best friends are like Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's very 80s anime.
I don't think I am.
No, not you. I suppose that some in the chat will know what I'm talking about. he can transform in anything, and especially he can. He's a rubber guy. He's a little rubber kid.
Hmm.
Okay, and I keep going. All right, so I keep going with these random shapes for vampires. Then I can change a brush at a certain point. I just go with a regular circle brush, round brush, and let's say 3. And immediately you see everything changes. I can see here, can you see that? Can somebody see this? Like the vampire at the top of a pinnacle with his cloak and a hand.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you see that? Right. The hard part here is to do not get too much attached to the shapes that you get. Like if now I try to go in more details in this shape, trying to replying but with more details, probably nothing good will happen, because I would be too stick to try and repeat a pattern that was very spontaneous from brain and hand. As you see, here I'm trying to replicate some character of this, and immediately it's stuck, you see. Because it's really hard to quickly replicate something. But here, with some rubber, some good stuff can happen. Probably I will reverse this. Boom. Bernice, let me know if the chat has a question.
Yosef's question is Batman a vampire? Yeah, no answer.
The answer is blowing in the wind of God.
There's a question in chat. Renato's asking you, Daniele, do you ever use the golden ratio when doing pixel art?
So I never imposed that to myself. What's happened often to me is that as I start to investigate more about what I did, I discovered that spontaneously some what's the name in English? What's the name in English for the proporzione aurea? Gold, right? Gold.
Golden ratio.
Golden ratio, yes. Proporzione aurea is in Italian. So sometimes you retro-engineer what you've done, and you see that a lot of in the good works, of course, and you see that a lot of stuff in the golden ratio happens because basically you spend your years in Academy of Fine Arts working a lot on that, and of High School of Arts as well. Let's go with a bit of a bigger brush. All right. Anyway, you get this point, right? So at this point would be very interesting. And as you see, of course, some of the stains that I did as creature, the shapes are not many of them are interesting, but some of them are. To select, interesting shapes, you often go to something, as I said, that immediately catch your eyes, right? So this is a funny witch with a big nose, big hood, interesting uh, little cape here. This could be a nosy ghost. This guy remember me a lot of the guy in Final Fantasy, the one that cast you the death spell, Final Fantasy 7 and 8, I believe. The one with the little light. I don't know if some of you get
Yeah, yeah.
the reference
I
here.
totally looked like him.
Can't remember his name.
Joseph
Yeah.
had a question. He said, do you ever erase something or do you always move to the next picture?
No, of course. I erase a lot, but not to correct. So if you will see now how the rubber can become a very good ally of yours. Here there is a little witch or a genie flying. Here. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe here
Yeah,
has
totally. It
a
looks like
flaming.
he's like on a. Oh, I was thinking he's like on a broomstick or something.
Yeah, yeah. The other way for the witch
Or
was to me to see the. These are the witches that are flying. Yes. But of course, as we start saying a name, uh, other stuff are happening. So as I start to picture vampires, a lot of stuff here starts to happen, right? So here you have a vampire with kind of a beak, but this could be a nice starting point for a vampire. You tell me if the chat agree on what I'm saying, like if people can see what I'm saying, huh? I don't want to be just on my own trip, right? As an artist,
yeah,
sometimes
chat
that
agreed.
happens. Yeah, okay. I
Yeah,
really
it's
like
cool.
this
Like you
one.
just.
Please go ahead.
I was just going to say like you add such little detail, but it like really shapes the character that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I believe that, perceptively talking, any one of us have the right perception to catch all of these shapes. It's just about the fact to have an imaginific mind that can start reading this and adding spontaneously details to this. So as I'm looking at this guy here, I immediately add, a lot of stuff. And let me focus for a second on this guy here. So someone asked me if Yusuf, I believe, asked me if I use the rubber, if I erase. As I was saying, you can use the rubber to add details. Okay. And when you start using the rubber to add details, it takes way less effort than not adding details. Because, for example, if I have to make, like here, a thorned cloak, this will mean on my side to make a nice round that makes sense, that looks spontaneous, and still looks a bit jagged. While with the rubber, I just start, erasing stuff, and everything looks very, very organic. Okay. So I can add a few details here. Then, of course, you can select the shapes you painted. And so when you start doing this on many quick iteration, you immediately start to have, a very original and unpredictable characters. So think the difference between these two, right? So from here you can really start having a guy with a huge arm, a vampire, kind of a bruja with a huge hand, claws, here so big that he cannot even go around. No, so it's a very original way to start exploring ideas about your creatures. Okay, are you hearing me, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sure. So from this point right now, when you have, let's point one that we like. Let's point the guy on the pinnacle here. I'm going to move on a new document. I'm going to make it bigger. Yes. Ooh, spooky guy.
Cool.
All right. So before I go more in depth with this guy here, another way that you can explore solutions can be this, and is just using one of the most useful and underestimated tool, which is the mirroring tool. And I use it like this. So I mentioned pareidolia before, but now I'm gonna check on Google how to translate in English, so you can go more in depth with that.
I think Fox was the one that pasted the definition
Oh yeah,
for the translation. What was it? Trying to scroll up and see.
it's
The
pareidolia.
tendency for
It's the same. It's pareidolia as well.
pareidolia, yeah, tendency for perception to impose a meaningful interpretation on a nebulous stimulus, usually visual, so that one sees an object, pattern, or meaning when there is none. Oh, I see. That's cool.
Yes, and please note that that's basically one of the most peculiar thing in human being. Human being is particularly good at find patterns everywhere, right? So probably is based because our evolution, because you need to, and especially faces. That's what I meant, especially faces, because faces means other men's and other women's, so means your own species. So you really want to be aware where someone else is around. So we are very able to spot faces even when they are known. Okay. So this, you see, this is another way to explore vampires in this sense. I'm really going, still very free. Ooh, Mr. Vampire.
Cool. The mirror function is really cool.
Yeah, because faces are symmetric. So when we draw symmetric stuff, they get immediately a very powerful meaning for human brain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that I want to explore a bit more the cloak, the dress of this vampire guy. So maybe I'm exploring some concept art for the villain of this video game or this movie, and I want to understand more how his dress could be. And I'm still, of course, in a very early phase of the concepting here. I just want, my mind to be blown away by the possibilities. What are possibilities? Yes, those possibilities. I want big pauldrons this time. And big sleeves. And now rubber. So I want this to be more scary. Yeah, strange, weird hats for some vampires from somewhere. Oh, vampires.
Yeah, it looks like horns.
You see, so this
Nice.
is an interesting way to explore a lot of, now I'm very quick, but usually then you start making these unique and, without, maybe, for example, you can just copy one. I really like this one. It's very vampiresque, Nosferatu style. I bring them here a few. And from here, I can start exploring more of the same iteration. Maybe I want to get inspired by color. Maybe I just want to understand their mood, how they could work in my overall scheme, and then I can start making variation on them. And explore if I want them to be, more eerie or more exotic.
Oh, Yosef wants red eyes.
Yeah, the third eyes, yes.
Oh, red eyes.
Red eyes? Third eyes.
Yeah.
The third one, yes. If I make it like this, red eyes. Yeah. And then I can, explore a lot of the, I want the symmetry here back again. I got the symmetry back again here, and I can start exploring with some gold. Ooh, violet, purple, and gold. I love it. How do we solve hands
Like
here? We don't.
Like a vampire king.
Yeah.
Like royalty. Like a vampire monk or something. Yeah. Whiskey says, "There's your legendary." Yeah, this guy's totally legendary.
Boom. So
Wow.
immediately here, you get a very, very, interesting start from an original character that is already very, very promising for something, right? As a color scheme, very simple, with some nice accent that already give me the vibe, is already telling me, is start to bring me also some folklore, no? Is legendary. It starts to bring me probably, I don't know, some Arabic, Indian uh, area, right?
Hmm.
So
Totally.
from there, again, I can replicate. I just enlarge it. If I push M, I keep the ratio of it without worrying about how I'm distorting this. Of course, some distortion will occur, but who cares?
You say if you hold M and you stretch it, it keeps the
Sorry,
same
no,
proportion?
shift.
Hold shift. Okay.
Holy shift. Allora,
Hmm.
yeah, let's try at least to not aberrate the eyes. Okay, like this is fine. So, I like this. I start to replicate it as well. Maybe we want a new level. And before I do this, let me perform some magic. Guys, this is a very secret of mine, so, just
Ooh.
take care of that. So, as you can see here, pixel art is just scale it up. So, where first I have 1 pixel, here I have 2 pixel. That is too simple, right? Like if I had to represent this in a higher, sorry, if I have to represent this at a higher scale, this will not be looking one-to-one with a small one. Like here I would have a curve probably, right? So to do that, just when you scale it up, I just select it and I just tilt it slightly and it immediately adjusts because of the algorithm of Sprite and the pixel perfect option. It immediately transform what before was just 2 pixel tall now become elaborated.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, this is super useful so you can scale it up all the pixel art that you want and then you can just rework it. Of course, the polishing will still be a pain in the neck and of course you have to readjust everything, but you will have a very spontaneous surface and that's very
Hmm.
very interesting, very very important, because you don't want
Cool.
when you scale up pixel art to just have uh, just the same proportion with where you started. The good thing of scale up is that of course I can start adding details. So you can add a bit of his ear now, being careful to do not make it look like an alien. But since I was painting contemporary art, I always tried to um, make my process autonomous. So when the process is autonomous, the paint, no matter what, is good because you're sure that you're not stressing as an author, as a painter, you're not stressing too much the the color itself. Okay, so you're not oozing around with your brush, just stressing the paint. When you mechanize, when you automatize your process somehow, can be with a digital projector, can be just repeating the same subject, you start to give autonomy to the paint. And if you see, this is what's happening here, because I'm working without kind of any personal interest in this, and all the little exceptions that are occurring is not that I've created, but they work so good. so much better if I myself started to investigate. Like if I had to replicate this belt here, probably this would be so much more stiff. While just automatizing the process, of course, here is by digital, but this can be made also with a logic way. That has been, the biggest challenge for past author. And I'm talking since the medieval time. You know, it's not something that we have to think in recent history, not in modern time. But that's why the masterpieces are masterpieces because they look autonomous. They look like they are made um, not by the hand of a human being. They are so fresh. They are so authentic because looks like they are made, you know, somehow else, not in another way. And so now we can add details and we can start giving expression to this guy. Yeah, so you see, for example, in pixel art all the time, less is more. There could be so many ways to approach the mouth here. Of course, in the vampire, mouth is such an important part. Um, as I was approaching, I was thinking right now, maybe I can do a full mouth like this. Then, and looks good, right? Then
Cool.
my mind said, no, you can do it negative. You just do the inside, and the teeth around are just the black part. That can work as well. I would still prefer, probably, to do just this. Just very, you know, Black Widow, spider style teeth, little teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But
Parents do like Voldemort.
yeah, and this is something you want to, show when you do concept art. So you go and copy a couple of heads. And you propose the different mouth. So the first one is the positive one, but looks a bit funny Japanese style. Then you make just the negative space. And then you do
We have a competition, says Yosef. No competition, but would love to see your Halloween pixel art. If you just, yeah, throw it into our art channel. That'd be cool. Yes, for the love of art. Whiskey says, is there a cheat sheet for all the commands? I think I've seen a page on Aspirate that had all the shortcuts.
Yeah.
Let me try to find
Yes,
that right
and if you want to learn and work in Aspirate, even just for fun, believe me, go and check their shortcuts page. We shared in the last workshop. This that page is so useful, is so time sparing. You can work greatly from your keyboard, and that saves you so much time. So basically, my setting right now is keyboard, tablet, pen, and mouse all together. And from there, you can really have a workflow that is very, very spontaneous. Of course, you have to work it out a bit, but it's way more spontaneous than other way of work that I found out before. Okay, so let's say, Bernice, what's your favorite hat among these three? One, two,
Ooh,
or three?
I think I like. Well, what do you guys like, chat? Yosef says two. Fox also says two.
2.
So 2 it is.
Let's do with the 2. Just let me have some extra eyes here. Yeah.
Right now, oh, it also says 2.
Perfect. So let's bring this head in. Ecco perché. Okay. Here. Boom. Love this character. Let's go in a new page. And let's say if in the last 10 minutes we can make some nice animation for him. So, let's start with his awakening.
Ooh.
We change this to 2 seconds. 1 second. 1 second.
Oh my god. This is going to be amazing.
Then remember, when everything happens in animation, you want some exaggeration. So before we arrive at this point, we want an extra wide open eyes and mouth. And then we bring this to 3 seconds. Let's check it out. Dun, dun. Let's get here slower. So we have some suspense here. Dun, dun. More. Another suspense there. Dun, dun. No, this needs to be up properly.
I like the open face. That's hilarious.
All right. We can take a little moment here more, I believe. We can even take up to half a second here. And you can also darken the color. So you have this impression about, the light starts coming out of his face. Dun, dun. And here you want some extra brightness.
Mm.
Dun, dun. Yes. Let's check it again. Yeah. And something that would improve a lot this would be some hands, for example. So in some, maybe fluo green, would be this too much? Let's ask Momo. Momo, is this too much? It's too much green color?
It says make shiny particles.
Love that. The contest here is guess which part of the States this guy is from. East Coast. Yeah. All right. And of course, well, this is, very on the spot, very uh, just searching for something, but immediately you start to have a character. And yes,
It's like he's like about to do a dance or something.
actually, this is a very common pose in like Egon Schiele paintings. Um, I invite you all to go and check. He's one of the most, influenced artists from the the 20th century, and I was completely in love with him since I was a kid. I believe he's one of the most important reason I'm a painter today. And also, when he was posing in real life picture, he was making this pose with his hands. He has beautiful,
Oh,
very, those gnarled hands. And so it's a bit of, expressionist pose, not to concept art pose. I got inspired because also the dress here is some Viennese Kunsthistorisch, dress, like history of art dress. And then you can add, of course, some jewelry here. Maybe some other color would be better, but it's fine. And yes, let's follow Momo advice and let's put some interesting fire, flame hair around his head. Let's go very random. Do not overthink this.
ooh, flame head. Oh my god, Momo, that's so good. Momo drew a vampire eating a popsicle.
Ah, che bello, let me see.
Sorry, vampire, because it's vomit color.
Yeah,
It's so cute.
I need to check it out as I'm done here. Of course, I put a loop here, so we can just now go around. Of course, we need to change the frame properties down to 100. Yeah, this is very simple fire. With the rubber, of course, we can investigate it a bit more. But basically, this is it. Here I'm using the keyboard, you see,
Whoa.
to browse through the different frames. I'm not using the mouse because that would be a pain in the neck. Just using the arrows on the keyboard. Now let's add the particles. last 8 minutes to add the particles.
Nice, Mama. Looks good.
You can just highlight one frame, just adding a bit of, do you remember Control U to open the hue saturation settings? We just pump saturation and especially vivacity. No, is V stay for, yeah, vivacity. Better to pump the color itself.
I can't believe like you made that so easy. It looks easy, but it's really cool.
Yeah, you know, as much as you just practice, things starts to just flow a lot.
And yeah, all the shortcuts definitely help.
Yeah, a lot. And then here, from this pinky, you just can diminish by half the opacity of your painting, of your paint, and just go before and make a bucket there and the other, and so this will make the thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, we can spend the night animate this guy, making the idol, make the cloak floating. I was faster than supposed, so let me put even some cloak floating. Let's see if I can make it quick enough. Yeah, very, very fast, you know, a bit rough, just 4 frames for this. Starts to get a personality, starts to, you know, show a bit of what's the feeling of this guy here.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But then if you want him to dance, of course we can.
We always want him to dance. Requirement number 1.
This starts to be a bit silly. Whoa. I have to erase this from the wall.
Oh my god. I already see it happening.
Oh, crossed hands in front of the chest.
It looks like, do you know the wrestler John Cena?
And
He
his
does
name is
that's
Nosferatu.
hilarious.
Because he does this, right? Like that you cannot see me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly that.
yeah. I say his name is John Cena
Vampire
all the time because
John Cena.
my third kid is named John.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
but we call him like with a diminishing John Cena. John Cena, like Little John, John Cena in Italian.
Yeah, oh, that's so
But
cute.
so,
Yeah.
and after John Cena, of course, there is John Cena. So, yes. This is a bit of Stan from Monkey Island as well. I don't know if someone is familiar with him. Oh, I can do that, I can teach you about this, how to sound this, how to sound that. At first, you just, if you listen to me, you're gonna learn a lot of dark stuff, my friend. So we have also to
That's so good.
make him talk very fast. Last thing. Yes, and so this is kind of an Italian vampire teaching you how to make a workshop for Halloween.
Yeah,
Thank you so much,
so
guys.
good. Thanks so much, Daniele. That's hilarious. Hope everyone learned something cool today. We obviously aren't as talented as Daniele, but hopefully you guys made something cool. Definitely share it in the Anomura art channel because I want to see what you guys made. And we'll post the recording for people that can't join as well, or if you want to go back and rewatch it.
Where are you posting everything that I want to go and check?
Oh, there's just a chat. If you go to the studio, if you click on
Yeah.
that, the voice chat, there's actually a text channel. Discord added that feature, I think a few months ago.
Curious,
But Momo
yes.
says that and Whiskey says we appreciate you. Thank you for staying up late. And Yosef says thank you as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody. It's always fun to spend a bit of time, sharing fun with, and a bit of my knowledge. I go teach. I like to teach, and Bernice, you said not everyone is talented with me. Always remember is so much more about practice than not talent. So if you just start and buckle down, if you're interested in this stuff, you just practice, and stuff will come up. Believe me, it's about that.
So true. Couldn't agree more. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you guys. It's been great. And have a good Halloween, good All Saints Day, and catch you very soon with great update.
Everyone, happy Halloween. See you later.